So what's going on, everybody, guys? One Piece chapter 1069 has actually dropped on this new website, OP Scans. Usually I wait for the TCB scans, but I thought since everyone's reading this scan, I might as well read this chapter, and it was a chapter to say the least. Now, of course, before I continue, make sure you guys don't forget to check out Dripco. I made a video called How Could Rob Lucci Defeat Luffy, and this chapter coincided with it. I assumed it would because we got teased at the end of last chapter, but if you guys want to check out that video, please support the channel. I have another huge video dropping Saturday, so turn on notification for that Dripco channel, subscribe, check out that video. But today's video is all about the chapter 1069, and it was a very nice chapter. And I don't know if you guys got that or not, but yeah, very nice chapter. And I thought I should just jump into it. So let's not wait any further, and let's go. So we have to talk about it, guys. Luffy versus Rob Lucci begins in chapter 1069. We have the giraffe Kaku and the reindeer Chopper telling both of their leaders to wait, don't fight, because they know how big and the gravity of what's going on right now, the magnitude of what's going on with the Rob Lucci versus Luffy rematch is insane. We saw what happened after Annie's lobby. Now that they've reached higher levels, when Rob Lucci is elevated to CP0 and Luffy is elevated to Yonko, you gotta put respect where respect is due. These guys deserve all the respect. These two cats definitely deserve respect. And of course, Jinbei says this is gonna be a major incident, but Luffy doesn't care. He's gonna do whatever he wants to do. Luffy, I'm just noticing he's very clouded. Holy shit, this guy has so much clout after Wano. Of course, Shaka is looking at the TV and watching this battle go on and says, wow, look at the speed, and mentions how awakenings usually not usually, but awakenings do lose their personality. But of course, I believe the Impel Down jailers didn't know how to master their fruit ability to the perfection. They awakened, but they didn't awaken to perfection like Rob Lucci and Luffy. Yeah, you heard me right. Rob Lucci in this chapter awakens his Neko no Mi, the leopard Delphin ability. He awakens it, and it's looking beautiful. I won't lie, his design is looking so sick. Of course, with the whole steam behind him and the black flames, I gotta say, I gotta give respect to respect is due. Rob Lucci's design is badass. Of course, Kaku is crying to Lucci to stop, and Lucci says to he just ignores Kaku and says to Luffy, yo, just like you, I got stronger too. So this guy's cocky. Rob Lucci's cocky. He's pretty much saying, yeah, you're Yonko, you got stronger, but I got stronger too. So I gotta give respect because he's not how to say this, a soft character. I like characters like Rob Lucci and Eustace Kid who just, even if the odds are against them, they still will go battle. And this is what I want to see. I know Luffy was stronger than Rob Lucci, but I still want to see the rematch because that is one of the greatest fights, if not the greatest fight in One Piece. And I just thought it would be cool to see as a fan of the fiction piece, One Piece. So definitely want to say cool stuff. Then we have the famous live reactor. Now we live react to chapters like Uzumaki Khan. Of course, we got Brago live react to the chapters, King Lightning. We got YouTubers live react to the chapters. Then we got Akainu, who also is fucking live reaction to Straw Hat being on Egghead Island, and Vegapunk noticing that CP0 was there to assassinate him, and CP0 declaring war pretty much attacking Vegapunk and intruding their way in. I kind of just reacting to all these things happening on Egghead Island. And then we find out that Kizaru is pulling up. Now, we know Kizaru wanted to pull up to Wano when Big Mom and Kaido were about to meet, but of course was stopped by Akainu because of Samurai. This time, Akainu could not stop Kizaru. He pulled up before even Akainu knew what was going on at Egghead Island, because he pulled up hearing about CP0 and the Vegapunk strategy to take him out. Now I'm thinking, uh-oh, I want to see Kizaru versus Luffy versus Zoro versus Sanji. It'll be cool to see against a Yonko crew. But now I'm thinking Kizaru might have pulled up to actually fight Lucci to go against CP0. We know CP0 and the Marines have always had like a weird relationship when it comes to the world government. And now we have Sentomaru, Vegapunk. We know Kizaru has a connection to Sentomaru. He could pull up to actually fight Lucci instead of Luffy like everyone's thinking. That's what I thought reading the chapter. Do gotta say this. Akainu says, tell Lucci to wait, don't fight Luffy. Of course, that's definitely not gonna happen. But Akainu is the fleet admiral now. And I can't lie to you guys. You guys might get mad, but I think Akainu low-key becoming fleet admiral, people are thinking he turned a softie. And I don't think he's a softie, but I think he's just more thinking rather than action, because this is the same guy who actually went after Blackbeard after Marineford. Like, this guy is no joke when it comes to how he was pre-time skip. Post-time skip, he's moving way different, and I can respect it because he's taking that fleet admiral position seriously. But as a fans, it's pretty funny always how he's always reacting. But this probably is the most important thing in this chapter. Yeah, the first two things I talked about were hype, probably the most hype things as fans for the story and for like the world building of One Piece. But the most important thing was the Delphoid origins explained. Ichiro Oda said Vegapunk would explain it, and he does. Its existence will never disappear because people yearn for it, when he's talking about Luffy's Delphoid. And then says the desire of all things are born to this world, and just like the concept of Delphoid abilities. So he goes from Luffy's Delphoid ability to, of course, the major concept of Delphoid abilities. And he says the Delphoid are potential of human evolutions that humans have wished for. And he even talks about how wouldn't it be nice, it kind of reminds me of the Wouldn't It Be Nice song, and how people had wouldn't it be nice if I could do this, while Luffy and Lucci's fight. We just see that in the background. We even see the same panel from Eddie's lobby. And it pretty much says, therefore, these abnormalities, of course, the powers of the Delphoid ability, are hated by the Mother of Sea. That's why the seawater is the weakness to Delphoid users. So we find out the weakness of Delphoid users, why it's like that, and we're finding out why the origins of Delphoid users. Delphoid users are beings living on a whole different scale that many people wish for and envision. Wow. All I can think about is the interaction of Blackbeard and Law, when Law says, you have a lot of Delphoid users, and Blackbeard says, yeah, they have weaknesses, but of course they have their uses. And we're seeing this now with Rob Lucci and Luffy awakening their Delphoid abilities. We know Law also has awakened his Delphoid ability, and Blackbeard has 2 Delphoid abilities. So we're seeing some insane stuff post Wano. Now, of course, Vegapunk ends it off by saying, this is just my theory, and pretty much says, isn't the world so fun? And everyone's like, all the Sanji, everyone's just shocked hearing Vegapunk speak. And yeah, it's fun, but Vegapunk, you're moving like a YouTuber, and I gotta give respect. He's moving like a YouTuber theorist, and that's what the One Piece community became huge, because of the theories in the One Piece community. So I gotta love it, yo. It's hype. Of course, the end of the chapter was insane. Rob Lucci comes out of nowhere with a Shigun, but it looks like he uses his whole hand as a Shigun. Of course, Sentomaru gets pierced through the chest, and it looks pretty badass, but it also looks very deadly for Sentomaru. And Luffy's shocked. He screams out, Axe Guy! And this is why I like Luffy, because I like Sentomaru. So Luffy likes Sentomaru too. From past interactions, as a character, Luffy, I just love how he moves. Of course, Lucci, he gets a W. He withstanded Luffy in a chapter where Luffy went his strongest form, awakening Joy Boy Nika, Gear 5th, the form that took out Kaido. Lucci is still standing with his awakened form, and he even took out a top dog in the Marines and Sentomaru. This guy has advanced armor haki, guys. He's not no joke. And even got control of the Seraphim. So I definitely got to say, this was very interesting for the narratives on Rob Lucci's character. And he didn't get one-shotted. And I talked about Rob Lucci and if he could defeat Luffy in that video. The link is in the description, and of course the link is in the comment section. Of course, Luffy in his Gear 5th form is still no joke. We see him pull out a new move, Gomu Gomu no Mogura. It kind of reminded me of Katakuri's weapon, also named Mogura, but also reminds me of how it's like pretty much a punch that goes to the ground, awakening, and punches Lucci. That was the main concept I thought Luffy's awakening would be in the beginning once I saw Doflamingo's awakening. So it's cool to see Luffy use that concept right now in this Lucci battle, and it sends Lucci flying and coughing blood. And I thought Lucci was done after this, but Lucci got back up, so I gotta give respect. But Luffy is pretty much controlling this battle. It looks like he's joking around, not serious, but I like that Gear 5th is being brought out again after the Kaido fight. Now, guys, you might be thinking, is Gear 5th going to be used too much? No, I think the more we see Gear 5th, the better. It's the final saga, guys. We have no time to wait, yo. Luffy, showcase your moves. We also see Vegapunk tweaking about the White Warrior, of course mentioning Luffy, and Vegapunk, the real Vegapunk, is the one tweaking, and of course Frankie has hard eyes for the real Vegapunk, which is very funny by Oda. Of course, Nami and Usopp say this is just the Gomu Gomu no Mi, and Vegapunk says that fruit doesn't exist, and Vegapunk says it looks like, of course, back in the days there was a mention of this known as, they seen it as a god in the ancient text. And Sanji replies, Luffy, he's just an idiot. And Vegapunk is just pretty much gassing Nika, how it brings smiles, and the Liberation Warrior and whatnot, which we already know. And now he says, never heard of it. And Vegapunk replies, of course you never heard of it. It's been erased from history. So we're really getting to the taboo of the One Piece world after Wano. So yeah, One Piece fans, you guys got to be a little bit nervous. I mean, I'm nervous because it's seeming like One Piece is getting closer and closer to its finale, and I can't wait. I'm excited. Then, of course, it was cool to see Luffy talking to Sentomaru. He calls him an axe guy. It's been a while. Sentomaru's like, yo, don't call me by my weapon. And says, yo, you gonna help out old man Punk? And Luffy's like, casually, just like, yeah, he's just always upside down. Who would have thought you became a Yonko? It was cool to see Sentomaru give respect to Luffy reaching that height of a Yonko status, and says, I still can't understand this form of yours, which nobody can understand, but it looks like Luffy's form maybe is helping bring people towards his side. Maybe that's a reach, but I thought it was cool to see Gear 5th, the Liberation Warrior, have a talk with a Marine and who helped him. So cool, very, very cool. Of course, in the beginning of the chapter, it was so funny seeing Luffy question why Lucci was there, and Lucci's like, yeah, this is a world government island. Like, it's actually the opposite. We're questioning why you are here. And then, of course, Jinbei is questioning why he's going after Vegapunk. You see a huge difference in Jinbei's intellect and Luffy's. It's like the complete opposite, because Jinbei's asking the real questions. Why are they going after Vegapunk? So I thought that was cool to see that interaction. Of course, there's Kaku, who says the Straw Hats, and Bonnie. Of course, you get to understand, Bonnie's still a top pirate. She's a worst generation member, so seeing them together is still interesting for the CP0. But he says, don't fight, he's a Yonko, let's get permission first. Of course, that's interesting, because Kaku is pretty much ordering Lucci not to fight because he knows this is a Yonko. Yeah, it's Luffy from Enies Lobby and whatnot, and they had the power to like do all that stuff in Enies Lobby, but now things are different. It's a Yonko. We gotta wait it out a little bit. Luffy has reached the height of a pirate. Of course, Dusty says it would be an all-out war because the Yonko's subordinates are here, seeing Jinbei, of course, and Chopper and the rest that are probably around, of course, and they are around. So Stussy, you are right, and pretty much has reports to the Marines. So I like how Stussy is doing the job real fast, like reports to the Marines, get this out into the world. Yeah, Luffy versus Lucci needs to be reported fast. Of course, Rob Lucci is not a complete, how to say this, his ego's not going to take over his mind completely. As he says, it's not a good idea. But of course, we all know he said but at the end of it, because he's still salty that he lost to Luffy in Enies Lobby. So of course, Luffy's mad that he packed up Atlas, one of the Vegapunks, and tells Chopper to look after Atlas. But Chopper's like, yo, that's Frankie's job. This is actually not a doctor's job, because that's not a real human. And of course, Rob Lucci tells Luffy, yo, like pretty much tells him to shut the fuck up, says, yo, this is a world government island, stay out of world government business. And Luffy says, yo, this girl fed us, yo, so yeah, this is not my business. And I like that, because it's the same sentiment that he had with Kaido when it comes to food. Luffy, one of his top motivators is food. We've even seen fought Zoro in Logtown over food, so this is very consistent to Luffy's character. Of course, it was pretty cool to see the introduction of Sentomaru back in this arc. He's been a while since we've seen him, since the post time skip return to Sabaody. Sentomaru says it's my day off, and it makes sense. We didn't see him in the entire arc until now. He had to be called by Vegapunk, and pretty much says, yo, he has Bo with him, Mihawk and Jinbei Seraphim, and he's debating on who to attack. Yo, he's like, yo, who should I attack? But of course, Vegapunk guilt trips him, because Vegapunk actually helped him when he was starving and he was younger. So the pressure was definitely put on Sentomaru to help out Luffy. It wasn't just Luffy with Liberation. Of course, he had to get guilt tripped by Vegapunk. Then we see CP0's Kaku, who's I believe one of the strongest CP0 members. Yo, he was one of the strongest, second strongest CP9 members with Lucci. And Kaku says, yo, Kuma, destroy one of the Seraphims. And of course, that's not going to work, because Dusty explains that, of course, the power system is Gorosei, Vegapunk, and Sentomaru, then CP0 with the chip. So we then see the Seraphim Kuma actually attack CP0, but they can't fight back because, of course, they don't want to destroy it. So they can't really showcase their full capabilities. I really want to see how Stussy fights. Kaku, I think he's going to be a monster, but Stussy, I'm really confused. Of course, after Wano, CP0's narrative, it has changed a lot. We all know that the Seraphims are really valuable to the world government, so of course, they're not going to do major damage to them. Kaku even questions why Lucci's not thinking this through, but I know why, because Lucci is salty Kaku. He's been warped because he sees Luffy, the guy who defeated him, one of the only, if not the only guy who could defeat him. So yeah, he wants his run back, and I would too. So I gotta give respect to Lucci. Get your run back, get your fight back, your rematch, and if you get taken down again, yo, I don't want to see a third fight like Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury. Of course, Sentomaru then orders the Boa Seraphim to actually guide the Straw Hat pirates out of here, which is going to be cool to see the interaction with Boa Hancock Seraphim and the Straw Hats. Of course, we also get news that Sentomaru says Jinbei Seraphim and Mihawk Seraphim fight CP0, and Jinbei notices, yo, that's my clone. Like, they cloned the warlords with brown skin. Yeah, Jinbei, they cloned you guys. You guys were the world government dogs back in the days. And then, of course, I'm thinking about the brown skin comment. Like, Zoro's probably hungry to take out these Seraphims. I think Zoro could take them out by himself. You guys all know what I'm talking about when it comes to Zoro's agenda. But yeah, this chapter title said it all. The desire of all things are born into this world. Wow, what a title for an amazing chapter. And the cover story was pretty cool to see. Dufeld, of course, that loan shark, and of course the Tea Party was a supplier to Mads back in the day. And where are you going with this cover story, Oda? Because Mads is seemingly looking like an important story for the final saga. Or maybe it isn't, I'm not too sure. But all in all, I thought this chapter was fire. I loved it, I enjoyed it. But make sure you guys check out Dripco, because I got some huge videos dropping on that channel. But yeah, that's my thoughts. Like and share if you enjoy, like and share only if you enjoy it, and subscribe for more One Piece content. I'm the Legend Mac, and I'm gone.